Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro, friends. Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Elixir Specialty Coffee. Head to elixirspecialtycoffee.com to get Elixir for your favorite coffee person for under $20 these holidays. Use the code IMAPITFORWARD to save a further 10% off on your first purchase. Today on the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, the very last episode for 2019 and the decade, we're going to be talking about rest, and we are going to be talking about the idea of recovery and the kind of gratitude that comes from that. This has been a really big year for both of my brands. It's been a very exciting year for this podcast. Before we go any further, I want to thank you for your role in that. This work is enormously gratifying for me. I have two full-time jobs. This podcast and the workshops that we do associated with this podcast are a very full-time job, and running Elixir is a very full-time job. And it fills my life. And I guess traditionally for entrepreneurs, and people who are very passionate about their careers, going hard has been a mark of success. It's almost like you wear it as a badge of honor, right? Well, this past couple of years, particularly as I've been focusing on what I want to build wealth in my life currencies and what that looks like, I have come to realize that perhaps that badge of honor that we wear from working so hard and dedicating every minute of our lives to our careers and our work, that may actually come from ego and come from fear and come from all of these places that I don't want to have wealth in. I want to have wealth in my life currencies, which are peace of mind, flow, growth, purpose, freedom, connectedness, and clarity. And none of those things come from exhaustion. None of those things come from overthinking or anxiety. So this year I've been working very hard on learning how to detach from those kinds of emotions, those kinds of experiences. I have learnt to let go of a bunch of things. And believe it or not, this podcast, the Daily Coffee Pro, has been a really active mechanism in that. And so I'm thankful for the opportunity to do this and have this mechanism as a part of that growth for me. The past 3 or 4 years, I had made the decision to prioritize sleep. And so what that meant was that I would not set an alarm. And it was, to me, a part of, well, if I'm going to run a business and work very hard at running a business, I know that means I'm going to have to pay myself very little money for the first 5 to 6 years. And I've got to find some other reward for making that sacrifice. And the reward was that I was going to pay myself with sleep. And I know that may sound silly to some people, but think of it this way. If somebody said to you that you never had to set an alarm and that you could just sleep to whatever time your body told you you were done sleeping, imagine how wealthy you would feel. And I have to tell you, I'm 4 years in now. 2019, 2015 was when I decided to do this. And I have to tell you, it is the greatest gift I have given myself. I sleep until my body tells me it's time to wake up. And the only time I set alarms is if I have to catch a flight. And I think in the past 5 years, the past 4 years, I have set an alarm less than 10 times. So it's wonderful. I don't set meetings with other people or podcasts typically to start before 10 a.m. And I use up until 10 a.m. every morning. I usually wake up somewhere between 5:30 and 7:30, very naturally, depending on what kind of physical work I've done the day before, what kind of thinking. If I am overthinking on anything, it may take me later. Also, my biochemistry plays a role in that. Where whatever my hormones are doing, whatever stress I have, all of that plays a role in my sleep. And I've been able to track my sleep health through the fact that I'm not setting alarms. And the flow and effect to my physical health from that has been really great. I use the time from when I wake up until 10 a.m. every morning to learn. So it's time that I set aside to either watch videos on something that I'm trying to learn. Right now I'm going through a Google Analytics course to understand how the statistics of all the data that's being captured about the people who engage in both these brands. I want to understand that. So I'm using my time up until 10 o'clock every morning to do the courses that are held by the Google Academy. So up until 10 a.m. every morning is my time for me and my learning. And then the day starts. Then it's emails and production for Elixir and deliveries and meetings and podcasts, and all of that goes up until 7 o'clock at night. So I'll typically start my day. If I start early, it's at 7, but my usual start time is 8, and then I will work up until 7 p.m. at night with about half an hour to 45 minutes to eat, and then another 45 minutes to do some exercise. And then at 7 p.m., and this is new for me, this is something that I have been doing since probably 6 months ago, this is where rest has become a priority. And this came from a lot of things. But particularly me deciding to prioritize me in my life, and me accepting that if I'm always on the go, I'm not going to understand what it feels like to not be on the go and appreciate how much I actually give to the work that I'm doing and how much I value it. So I started stopping work at 7 p.m. at night. And by stopping work, I mean turning off my phone. I mean turning off my emails. So I'll be watching movies. I'll be doing some creative stuff, cooking, having dinner with friends, chilling out in whatever way that I want, but no work. And it has really surprised me how much more productive I have become and how excited I am to start the next day when I've stopped work at 7 p.m. the night before, and I know that I'm not going to be working for another 12 hours. And thrown in there is a big healthy dose of what naturally flowed on from that, which was gratitude. I know it sounds ridiculous that I'm talking about rest and recovery and gratitude on a podcast that's supposed to be about coffee. But this podcast is about so much more than coffee. This podcast is about the well-being of our experience of our careers and our businesses and our industry, our mental health, our physical health, our connections to each other and to ourselves. And for me, I feel like I've achieved a level of success and experience in my career as an entrepreneur whereby I can afford myself, and we all should be doing this, the space and the freedom to be grateful for what we're contributing and to be equally as grateful for the downtime, because it allows us to recover. It allows us to have some perspective on what it feels like to turn off. And you don't really gain an understanding of how valuable that is until you force yourself to do it. So the phone gets not turned off, but put on silent, and I don't look at it after 7 p.m. unless it's to call a friend, unless it's to order a lift to go out to a restaurant with someone. Two places the phone doesn't go with me. The phone doesn't go with me to the bathroom. The phone doesn't go with me to my bedroom. So I don't sleep with the phone next to me unless I have to set an alarm, which is very rare. But otherwise, the phone stays outside in the living room on charge overnight. And that means that I don't wake up and check my phone first thing. I wake up, the first thing I do immediately is sit up and meditate for an agreed 1 minute. And it usually goes for about 10 minutes. Then if I want to check my phone, I have to get out of my bedroom in order to check it. And that has also given me an extra freedom, so that I am being more proactive in my day rather than reactive to what's happening on my phone through my day. And so I come out, I make myself a cup of tea, I sit down with my phone, I look through it, I give myself 10 minutes with my phone, and then I usually spend about half an hour pondering, just thinking. And my mind needs that. I need to just let my mind do what it needs to do. That is an important part of recovering. That is an important part of recovering from rest and transitioning into getting ready for the day. It ignites the thoughts. It's creative time. And so my mind is one of those things that needs to do that. As we get ready for the beginning of a new decade, it's an exciting time for us to reset our habits and what we're going to venture into with regards to the way we set our intentions as an employee, as an employer, as a freelancer, as a business owner, as an industry, as a local community, as a part of the supply chain for a complex agricultural product. We want to reset our intentions and think about, as we move into a time that for a lot of our industry is a time of rest, is a time of recovery, even if it's just a few days. And this will be the first time in a number of years that I am actually taking a full week off. I haven't taken a vacation in 10 years, and I'm taking a full week off of work. Using that time to check in with yourself, understand what your intentions are for the next 12 months, for the next decade. It will surprise you how important this is to help you get aligned with how everything's going to flow. If you don't set your intentions, if you don't set what you want your focuses to be, you are going to be reacting to everything that shows up, as opposed to being an active decision maker in the direction that your journey goes. And this is addictive once you become aware to the fact that you can decide which way your career is going to go. You can decide which way your business is going to go. For me, this year has been transformative for a bunch of reasons. But the freedom that transformation has afforded me, purely because this is the first year in my life I have been proactive in pretty much every element of my life. I feel more empowered than I've ever felt. I feel more free than I've ever felt. And I feel more calm. This has been the first year that I feel like I've got to the end of it without anxiety. I'm finishing off the year without anxiety for the first year ever in my life. And that's huge for me. That's my greatest achievement of this year. And it's been a year of a lot of really huge milestones. And for the role that you guys have played in that, I can't be more grateful. I can't be more grateful for the fact that you have trusted me and asked for my help and allowed me to guide you through a bunch of stuff. I can't be more grateful for the fact that you've trusted me with the conversations that I've had with extraordinary people in our industry. And you've enjoyed those conversations, and you've told me when you agreed or disagreed in a respectful way. I'm very grateful for the opportunity that you've afforded me to have this platform so far, and I promise that I take that very seriously, and I'm going to do so much more to honor that trust in 2020. We've got some very exciting things coming. I wish you an incredible holiday season. Please rest. Please take a moment to be grateful for the things that you have afforded yourself in this past year and reflect on that. Take a moment to be grateful for the people that show up for you. Take a moment to be grateful to yourself for showing up for you. And then set some intentions about how you want to do more of that next year and prioritize your happiness and your success in 2020. The biggest, baddest peace, love, and peanut butter, my friends, and I can't wait to see you in January 2020.